Hey, what's up, guys? Sorry, couldn't get the camera to turn on. Is it working? Yeah, I think it is. What's up, man? My neighbor's gonna have to listen to Girk today. Awesome. Tom in here an hour early. I was trying to get this shit started a little later. 12 seems like just way too early. I was doing it because it's like midday and for EU, but maybe they can just watch the stream at night. Yeah, it's just like noon there. That was the thing. It was like I got to find a balance between West Coast and Europe. It's because you're a young man. 12 is late, dude. Nah, keep it up. I'll be popcorn. Wind down. Popcorn can be himself. It's 8 p.m. in London. That's the best time to see me. You can let the dulcet tones of me and Dork arguing about bear steepeners lull you into a beautiful night's sleep. 9 p.m. in Germany. Yeah, all right. It's getting a little later. Maybe the right balance is like 2 p.m. Eastern. International, Greg. Yeah. And 3 p.m. start means us East Coasters can catch brunch and still watch the stream live. That's what I was doing. I've been trying to mix things up and like I mean I've been sick for like the last month, but I've been trying to kind of mix things up and stream at slightly different times of the day and move things around because I don't want to just get burned out doing the same shit every single day 5 days a week forever. And although a lot of you are getting better at trading, some of you it might actually take forever. Yeah, it's what it yeah, I know what it's called. Fuck that. If this starts to feel like work, there's a problem. So this doesn't apply to a bunch of you, but for the ones it does apply to, you guys are getting some live data tomorrow. Let's not even talk about that. You love this and can do it however you want. Head snaps. Mm-hmm. Yeah, when you guys open up your gamma strike now, you should have a new little thing there. Ooh, what the fuck? Why is that all weird? Right here. And that should load this, which isn't moving right now, but at options, a market open tomorrow, it should begin. Now, this isn't all of the live data that we're doing, but it's a big part of it. We're gonna have that other chart that you guys are used to me seeing, like me showing you guys intraday, but we're not quite there yet on that. That one still needs some work before we can even push it to the beta because it's got some major bugs. Um, yeah, already played with the new thingy. Nice. Didn't waste any time, huh? So this would be it'll be live. You can alternate it between like puts and calls, um, and net, uh, but it'll be your live delta, gamma, vega, charm, speed, vana, volume, and then you can track spot on the like the gamma curve or the meatball. So live meatball. When could billionaires get the live data? Once we've got a production ready product, which is definitely taking longer than we thought it would, but we're getting there. Dude, it's so clean. Wait till you see it going. It's fun. Well, if I promise you guys like a set time frame, I'm gonna get murdered by the devs. So we'll start our own streams showing live data for tips. Oh, so you want to get sued? Fun. Any memes looking good for an OPEX play this week? Memes? Uh, uh, Upstart looks kind of interesting. Yeah, Upstart's maybe interesting. I mean, it's fucking just OPEX. It's not even like an important OPEX. Once I buy this, I have no excuses when I fuck up. Yeah, you do. You can just blame Dork. With live data, are you able to calculate SPX Greek's intraday, or is that different data? So Greek data is calculated off of open interest, and there is no open interest live. Open interest is printed twice a day, once at 6 p.m. and then finalized at like 6 a.m. Um, so yeah, it requires those two like end of day statements in order to be calculated. What important OPEXs have run hard in the past? So I thought it was worth asking. Upstart looks okay. I know what you're asking about, which is GMA. A lot more people are going to need to show up to the party on that one. Gamma and Delta both fell off pretty hard on Friday, and it finally slumped back below GM. So unless DFV comes in on Monday and buys like $200 million of in the money calls, it's probably over. Yeah, a little bit of support at 25. Out on the leap expiration. What's changed significantly on GME is the support down at like 20. A lot of that has fallen off. So there's very little call delta between 20 and 15 now. We got the data. Take a look at CEG. Playing those previous targets to the T. Oh, nice. Looks pretty bullish. Vol's starting to trim a little. Might be finding like a local top. Still has some range out to like 250. Yeah, but I don't. George listens to Indonesian folk music. How much below DN can we confirm the loss of DN? Because it usually moves below, then bounces hard. I mean, Delta, market maker Delta is negative 1 penny below Delta neutral. If it doesn't bounce on Delta neutral, that's usually bearish, and then it can bounce from below that, but that's not like a prescribed range or anything. QE 20 to 27, just not worth it anymore. If you have a small position on it, it's probably fine. Like, if I wanted to own a very small amount of GME, which I don't, because I hate Ryan Cohen, but if I did, like, I could see it still being a decent yielder. It's still doing the same shit it's always done, right? So, I mean, you can sell that volatility profitably. What does Island Gap on SPX mean? Nothing. There's just no buyers or sellers in that range. I mean, largely because there's a big concentration of sold interest there, and so it just gaps under and over it. Do you look at low if you have time? I don't know if I have that on here. I do. It looks interesting. Hmm. Might be picking up a little bit of interest. I don't know. They're gonna get they're gonna get hammered if we do tariffs. Uh, I'd probably just wait on it. If it found support here at 270, that might be a little bit bullish, but I'd really want to confirm that it's holding up as support. Because if it slips 270, it's going to go down hard. There's not a lot of support to the downside. Do you have any thoughts on the SMCI situation? I mean, they're still hurling towards delisting, right? Today's the 19th. Seems like Jan got loaded. I mean, Jan's loaded for everything. Don't mistake end of year positioning for, any kind of actual sentiment. Houston has grown on Reddit. That's the perfect environment for him. Dollar stores are going to implode with tariffs. Yeah. Do you think Fubo will test $2 sometime soon? I have no idea. Maybe? What's it trading at right now? Like $1.50. Earnings and maybe Fab. So it's got a while. Hmm. A lot of sold calls at $2 right now. Um, Realized vol's falling off pretty hard. That could be kind of bullish. Maybe. I don't know how soon, but I mean, this is usually where I buy like synthetic longs if I were gonna enter them. I would probably pick up the $1.50 ones below, or like at a test of 37 or 40. And then if that failed, I would add to the position around like a dollar 25 ish. Usually I sell those like before earnings though. Sometimes I get out of them a little bit after, but generally I'm out before earnings. Yeah, no problem, Poopy. Any chance of more gold funsies? I refuse to believe that a trade war doesn't risk currency. Oh, it does. But while the dollar is rocketing, I think gold we're gonna continue to see a decline in gold. If the dollar starts to kind of taper off, actually, you know what? We might get just like a technical bounce here, but probably not very high. Maybe back to like 26.18 or so. Maybe 26.27. If it got higher than that, I might be a little more bullish, but I don't think there's any reason for rates to come down substantially right now, at least not at the top end. And as long as the dollar stays up, then the risk of hedging it's less important, right? Because the currency spreads widen as the dollar increases in value. I mean, oil's just kind of cooled off until the next geopolitical thing sets it off in the Middle East. I'm still waiting to see if EIA reports any kind of deficit into the end of the year, which is definitely possible. But PBR, I don't actually know. I haven't looked at PBR in a while. It's starting to improve a little bit. Last earnings were kind of good. Maybe the new CEO is not such a bad investment. We'll see. I'm not in a rush to pick any up, but next time it drops around like 13 or so, I might add. Leverage rockets. It was closer to a soft landing, or is a recession with a small R likely to happen in the near term? I don't think we're anywhere near a soft landing. I think we're likely to see inflation spike again. I don't know about a recession anytime soon, but we're likely to see inflation move probably a lot higher. I think quarter 2 next year, maybe we could start to see enough pullback in growth, but that'll really depend on the path of the treasury and whoever Trump puts in charge of it. Is atomic good or bad for nat gas? I don't think it's a factor. Is Mama Yelly getting the can? Oh yeah, so's Gensler. All of them, I mean, Yellen definitely, but all of them are going to get cycled out, probably. And if Trump has the House, they'll probably try to get rid of J-Pow too. Or just do something really stupid, like just ban the Fed. Fun stuff. Yeah. My pillow guy for Fed chair. That seems reasonable. Thoughts on UAA? Really have any? I might be interested. Quarter 4. Hmm. Actually, interesting. Looks like they turned around their margins a little bit in Q1. Q3 is the next reported. Debt's still a bit of an issue. $1.17 billion in current liabilities. Interesting. But total revenues declined. Hmm. I mean, I could see it finding a higher valuation, and technically it looks good, but it doesn't look like they're expanding much. And without the potential for growth, it's hard to say if enough multipliers are going to be tacked on. Um, I'd have to do some more digging and see what management's looking for as far as expansion and stuff. But right now, I would say, eh. Like year over year revenues have been declining throughout the entirety of this year, which isn't a good look. This is an options chain on AQN. Is it over? Are you still adding to your position or filled up already? I think I have a buy order out on it still. I think it's for like 5,000 shares or something. I never really looked to sell calls on it. I guess maybe that was an option previously. It looks like it still has an options chain to me. Not a very liquid one, but it's got an options chain. There's a decent amount of interest out on the leaps. Have a buy order set for 475. So about 5 cents below spot. What's Nvidia's expected move? Greeks. I mean, the expected move will change as we approach earnings, but day over day, 5%, 5 day window, 10.98%, 17.72% over 30 days, 19.82% over 45 days. Volatility on Nvidia is picking up. And there's still a shitload of positioning around 150, so I could see the vol pushing out short calls near spot and letting it rise at least into earnings. Post earnings, I have no idea, but it's pretty far from Gamma Max. Gamma Max is like 165. Gamma Neutral's at like 100. And arguably way more room to the downside than the upside, but I don't know if it'll continue to sell off from here. 140 is pretty good support. Looks like he's tapped Howard Lutnick for secretary. Billionaire CEO, secretary of what? The Treasury? Of Alternative Investment Management Company, Cantor Fitzgerald. Uh, didn't you say down inclusion was more sell pressure on Nvidia? Yeah, a bit more. It's just a bit more pressure on it because Dow isn't market cap weighted. Dow's price weighted, and Nvidia's share price is fairly low. Nothing like just having more billionaires decide things for us. It's gonna be the best. We're an oligarch now. Yeah. Yeah, some of Trump's cabinet appointees are, well, awful. Billionaires are the best people. They have the highest score, so they have to be right. It's true. I can't argue with that logic. I wonder why the Dems haven't put up like Buffett. Buffett would get the vote. I'd vote for him. You don't want that guy that got brainworms from eating bad pork to be in charge of our food? Not particularly. My favorite thing is like the people that are like, well, like he really doesn't like corn syrup. And it's like, yeah, but he also really doesn't like vaccines. I'm the oil guy in charge of energy and hates renewables. Yeah. Current owner of Exxon stock hates renewable energy. Shocker. Did you see the pic of RFK eating McDonald's? I did, yeah. What good did vaccines ever do for us, Garrick? We haven't had any disease outbreaks in ages. Fuck, man. Uh, uh, there's a part of me that, has to say, like, I don't think they're going to do anything that extreme because they know better, right? But at the same time, do they? Make polio great again? Yeah, who makes iron lungs? Can we invest in that shit? At least it feels like we can stop saying regarded and start saying the real word again. You mean retarded? I've been saying that all along. I think most of those were phased out. There was still some guy living in one up until like a couple months ago. I think my assessment of the people that I know who just like none of them were Republicans, they just didn't vote. Um, was that things had pushed too far left, and they took away the candidate that they would have actually voted for. Most of the people I know went and voted, but the people I know who didn't, those are the reasons. I think Trump avoided bringing back all the people that know better. Yeah, but like all the people that he's appointing to his cabinet now, he's gonna fire in like the next week, right? Like, I think all of them were prepared to. This is actually kind of fucked up. All of them were prepared to vote for Biden, despite the lack of cognitive ability. They didn't care. They would have voted for him. Which is interesting. And so I was at dinner with my buddy and his wife the other night, and I was like, "Oh, so you just hate women?" And he was like, "No, no, no, no. I hate Kamala." And I was like, "All right, I get that." 2 years, biatches. Only good play I've made in that time is I've 2K Fubo and negative cost basis. Nice. Here's the 2 more years. Fuck yeah, Daniel. The thing the cabinet has in common is they're all yes men. I mean, Trump's a big narcissist. Of course, he's going to surround himself with yes men. But then he pushes the lines, and then the yes men become no men, and then he gets rid of them. I like the career prosecutor is too far left. Much like the Mexicans voting to keep other Mexicans out of the country, people who on the surface seem liberal will vote to keep the erosion of their personal rights from occurring and their power. Nobody ever wants to upset the status quo one way or the other. And that's generally true in most elections across human history. So if anything is viewed as being too extreme one way or the other, the populace will generally move back to center. And that doesn't mean nice things, but it means humans just behave in a specific way repeatedly, time after time. Return to spot, yep. All things must mean revert over time. Price controls on grocery stores is pretty far left. Would you shut the fuck up about your farming? Everybody wants price controls on grocery stores. She didn't not get into office because she was going to control the pricing of food, man. Thanks, Starscream. Also, welcome back. That's why Vermont has a Republican governor. Yeah, maybe. I still don't understand that one. I assume he's just not that Republican. Although I feel like they'd pick the most left Republican to run for governor in Vermont. Because you don't want to upset the dynamic. Man, if Nvidia misses this earnings, I wonder if I have enough $60 puts for 2026. I would have voted for Michelle Obama. She wasn't a candidate. Where's the cat and pork chop prince? They're probably just not gonna join me. They're gonna be like, oh, you changed the time. Even though I repeatedly let them know what time I was changing it to. They're just gonna leave me hanging. Who do you have price controls during hurricanes, even in red states? We just need to extend the rules for all kinds of groceries. Yeah, I don't think there's anybody who doesn't want groceries to be cheaper. She also lost because she's a woman. That didn't help. There's a lot of psychological shit with voters and female candidates, especially in the US. They've done big studies on it. There were like tons of Dems that wouldn't vote for Hillary because she was a woman. And arguably the most experienced political candidate we've had in, what, 20 years? People are just like, I don't like her. We don't have arbitrary government price controls due to normal market supply and demand. You know it's not the same. Nixon would like a word. Supply and demand is bullshit, poopy. It's all manufactured. We pay farmers not to farm food. Constantly. Bill was a PR nightmare for her. She just didn't lean into Bill. She just had him on stage playing fucking saxophone during her campaign. She would have won. Why don't they just stop running candidates they know people won't vote for? Oh, because they get money. That's all they care about. You gotta get more money to keep the wheels spinning. Can't lose money either. What's up, baby? Temporary working visas for Mexicans, maybe. We'll see. We should just have a clean path to legal immigration. Or just bring back the, Ellis Island thing, right? You get off your boat. Here's a social security card. There's some factory employers down at the end of the dock. Your FICA will be taken out of your first paycheck. Have a great day. It worked before. But how blame Poors and the Browns if they're allowed in the country? What fiber supplement do you take? I have like psyllium husk and this other one called what is it? Benefiber, I think. It's like bean fiber. Probability of the U.S. voting for an independent? You mean probability of an independent having a funded campaign? 0. Beta spare. That's pretty good. What's up, SA? So did all of you guys just make a shitload of this money this week buying 6,000 Ps? Not the complaining people, but the rest of you. $58.90, but yeah. Okay, nice. 59.95p. Alright. I almost did, but I sold early. I cut early. I was up big, but I closed my puts too early. So you closed up big? Nice, Alex. Yes, Chad GIF. This is fantastic. More people are saying yes than I thought would have been saying yes. Maybe you guys are getting better. Or maybe I just need to announce all of my positions really, really loudly, repeatedly. Yes, that. No, then you'll burn out quicker. Yeah, I will, actually. We know how to manage risk and take profits. Don't speak for everyone. We all made money this week. Last time that happened was Friday before Freg's Day. No, that's not true. The last time that happened was when we all inversed poopy on FSLR. We're bouncing early next week. No data rip. Possibly. I don't know. We're not in a good position, and I don't think short vols really abated yet. So probably. But I don't know how hard we'll bounce because there's not a lot to squeeze off to the upside. Like there's just not a lot of density in the delta to the upside. I never had a position, Gary. Uh-huh. I know. Inverse poopy on IWM and TLT was good too. Yeah, that's also true. One of these days he'll stop arguing with me and just embrace the reality of the 20-year at 8%. $5,900 seems like a fairly easy bounce from here. 5,950 is a little bit more difficult. What's the next week's play? 5,800p or 6,000c. Those are too far out of the money. Anytime I try to talk options to normal people, they get mad. Does this happen to you guys also? They also like look at me like I'm crazy. Well, why are you talking options to normal people? That's why we're all here and talk to each other. The fuck? 20 year at 8%? What? That's fair value. What is wrong with you? No one knows what that means, Girk. I do. I know exactly what it means. Poopy, if you came to me tomorrow and you were like, I need 250 grand over 15 years, what rate do you think you're getting? You think you can get 4%? You're not. No. No, it's not because it's Poopy. Poopy's got 2 jobs. I might even cut him a deal. And he's got that Midwest house. So, collateral. I'd take 6%. 7. It's gonna be like 7%. I'm here to be your wholesaler. How much for a 250K loan for me, assuming my wife co-signs? Well, I know your wife owns GME, so 22%. Oh, and you got back into GME, so 30%. With cash collateral. I have a 2.8% loan. Yeah, but what about your next loan? The fact of the matter is, in order to continue lending money with what is going to happen to currency spreads, banks are going to have to demand more interest, or banks go bye-bye. So they can demand 7 to 8% over 30 years, or 10% or 15%, or they can blow up. I already have my own fund. It's just mine though. Loan sharking? I mean, no. So you're saying is my savings account is totally gonna have a 7% rate? No, that'll be like 2%. 2% on savings, 10% on your mortgage. When do house prices actually reflect interest rates? Mm. When people realize they can't sell their houses for as much as they bought them for, and they have to start selling them before the bank sells them for even less. Throw in a pizza. Have a deal. Ooh. It's just really, really climbing up there for no reason. I don't know how the Republicans feel about nuclear. So I'm not sure if sentiment's going to shift on that or not. We needed to power the AI that writes the political speeches, so maybe it stays stable at least. Wasn't we able to pay 5% APY just for letting your money sit there? Something like that. Yeah. I think it's 4%. They just trimmed it. But they give you like a 2.5% bonus if you deposit enough money. So you could get up to like 6.5. So if you're rich, they just give you the money from poor people. Like the extra yield that they get from poor people, they just give to the richer people, which is amazing and how our country's designed. What do you think about nuclear stocks? I'm just long uranium. I don't want to invest in any of these. Because if any of these actually start making the product that they're from, like Oklo and New Scale and all of them, if any of them actually start making shit, right, then their capex is going to skyrocket and their stock price is going to tank. So this is like, oh, these fucking guys don't make any money. What a shit company. Oh my god, they might make some money. And then they're doing the thing that causes money to be made. And then after that, then it's like, oh, hey, they're making money off of the thing that they spent money on. That's the stock market. That's Dow theory for you guys. You're welcome. So buy the guys that sell the shovels. I said I'm long uranium. Oh, it's 4 o'clock. It's time for me to go get the guys. Hey man.
What's going on? You hear me all right?
I can kinda hear you. It sounds like you're in a Toyota Sienna.
Ah, you're right. That's exactly right. I'm almost done though.
Oh, okay. Where's Dork?
Can you hear me any better?
It's exactly the same.
I can't tell where the microphone is in my car, so
It's like above your head and to the right, and the little you'll see like two little holes cut in one of the like ceiling light panels. That's where it is.
all right. Aha, I see
There,
it.
there you go. Now you're louder. Look at you.
Now all I have to do is just look up at the roof while
Yeah,
I'm
just
talking.
just yeah, just tilt your head up while you're driving and scream into the roof of your car.
All right, that's kind of what I'm doing. So what do people care about this week?
Seems like uranium, the erosion of their human rights. Um, that's about it.
How do you trade that?
Foreign bonds, I think.
Uh, hmm.
Brainworms. Oh yeah, brainworms are a topic of conversation.
That's not a whole lot to go on. Nobody cares about Nvidia.
They did ask about Nvidia, and
What did you
I
What did you
well,
say?
I said that it's got support at 140, and then the rising vol into earnings will probably push out some of the sold calls. IV 10 and 30 are both picking up on it pretty fast. So it'll probably push up to like all that open interest up at 150, and then we'll see what happens at earnings. But if earnings is bad, holy fuck, is it going to go down hard?
Oh yeah, and it'll all be like in after hours when nobody can do anything.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean,
It'll
I've done something. I've bought $60 puts for 2026.
uh, that's not terrible.
No,
It's a decent valuation,
I think
maybe.
so. Yeah.
If AI doesn't completely collapse though, which I think it might, in which case their stock is worth like $12.
Yeah. Well, Moore's Law, so they don't make gaming GPUs anymore. They just stick gaming GPUs into stacks of 6 gaming GPUs and then sell those to companies
Man, don't get me started
so
on the
they can
Moore's Law.
create so they can create real life non-player characters.
Jensen saying that he's beyond Moore's Law is like saying I doubled my compute because I bought another computer and put it in my office next to my old one.
Yeah.
That's not Moore's Law.
Yeah, but that's what he thinks Moore's Law is.
I hate everyone. Like, why can't the media have the basic level of competency and willingness to call out something as easy as that? Like, he's misusing Moore's Law. He's insane.
Well, he's clearly. Well, did you? Oh, wait. Did you see that article that I sent you the other? You did. I think you looked at just the title of it though.
I
But
didn't read it yet. I saw the title and said, okay,
so
whatever.
so some company in China trained up like an equivalent GPT model on like some strapped together 3080s
Yeah, but here's the
for
problem.
pennies on the
Equivalent based on
dollar.
what, right? They're
Huh?
not. They're not. They're not measuring the utility of the models in any way that's valuable, right? So, I mean, the same trend is happening here in the U.S., right? Smaller models are competing at similar levels to the larger models, but the problem is that all these tests are just basic forms of rote memorization tests,
Yeah.
and you can just study for the test, right? So as the model becomes less general, so it's less useful generally, but more geared towards solving the test, you could claim, hey, my model is better and it's cheaper and smaller based on this test, but that doesn't. It's just because they've optimized for the test. But that's not what's valuable.
You know what I think we should do? I think we should build a GPT model that's sole focus is on making the user feel really intelligent. And I think that will be the best GPT model. Because that's what Sam Altman has given the people, JFresh.
I know, but here's the problem with
pseudo-intelligence.
Everybody's trying to create. People are trying to create these models that basically are just like your girlfriend or your friend or whatever online and make you feel great about everything. But these models end up just trying to convince the users to kill themselves. So it's a very
well, that's the only way to join the model in the Aether.
Either you make the user feel good about themselves or they kill themselves. One of those two things will probably
You just
happen.
make them feel so good about themselves and so smart they get imposter syndrome and become depressed.
And they kill themselves.
Huh.
Yeah. So anyway, back to like this whole test thing. It's already been debunked multiple times, most recently by Apple, who showed that, hey, if I change things that aren't important to the problem, like changing the names of the people in the word problem, which don't matter in a math problem, they don't matter at all,
Yeah.
they get significantly different correct percentages from the models. And even worse, if they put in information that's not necessary to solve the problem, then their accuracy goes way down because the AI will try to use all the information in the problem and make up nonsense.
You're not. Tip your head up more and yell louder.
You're making me talk about AI. Talk about
I'm just
Any-
imagining you
okay.
driving through Dallas traffic with your head pointed, like with your face pointed at the roof of your minivan.
I mean, the point is that these tests are all garbage, right? I mean, I've been telling people recently, we've had what? People claim we've had PhD level intelligence since O1 came out, or O1 Mini, or whatever.
I've
Which is
met a
just,
lot of PhDs, and maybe they're not wrong.
they might not be wrong, but the point is that they have limitless access to infinite PhD level intelligence, and they've had it now for what, like 4 months?
Yeah.
And given access to supposedly limitless PhD brain power, they've done nothing but try to get into Mensa.
Did they succeed?
I don't know. I mean, that's what all these things. These are just IQ tests, right? It's all just it's like.
Well, if a computer can't pass an IQ test, then nobody can.
That's correct. I believe that's a scientific fact.
Anyway.
JFresh has swung the pendulum too far. Reality is somewhere between him and Jensen now.
No, I'm pretty close to correct.
He's a little militant about it, but he's definitely right.
I'm not wrong.
JFresh's entire job as an engineer is to be a pragmatist.
I mean, it's just that I think the really annoying part of this is that people are really just broadly that stupid that it's not hard for an AI model that is very fallible and incorrect to be smarter than a huge swath of the population.
Yeah, it's not even necessarily smarter though, right? Because it's just regurgitating what's in its training data. So
yeah. It doesn't have the mental.
Well, that's what we've been tricked into thinking intelligence is just rote memorization. I mean, look at our college structure, our public schools, all that stuff. It's what we ascribe intelligence to, is being able to remember lots of stuff.
Yeah, that's true in like the softer sciences and definitely other fields. In engineering, that's not true at all. Rote memorization is treated very negatively because it belies the ability to think.
I'm thinking more primary school.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with you.
Plus, a lot of people they only have GEDs, right, or high school diplomas, and they think that a measure of intelligence is being able to say information.
Yeah, I mean, I have to actually spend a lot of time deprogramming people from what they've been told is valuable in school. Well, basically for their entire childhood, which is a difficult task, right? Because you're basically saying all these things that you thought were really important, that everybody told you was really important, don't fucking matter at all. And the more I think about it, the more it blows my mind that the system exists. It's kind of torture or gaslighting. I don't know what it is. It's sadistic though.
It is, yeah.
Well, it's a huge disparity between our standardized, curriculum in primary school and the standardized curricula of secondary education. I mean, like you go, like your first class, like outside of high school, it's jarring how much higher the standards are, and what the course load is like. It is like it takes a lot of adjusting before you figure it out. That it's like, oh, I got to actually think critically. Like
I think
that's
I think that might
yeah.
just depend on where you go to primary school.
I mean, I think that's the key of most of modern education is how do you teaching somebody to think critically is a very personal experience for everyone and takes a lot of work. It's a very slow process for most people, and we don't have the resources to provide that kind of attention. So we have to say, how can we approximate the process by which somebody learns to think critically and apply it to a broad audience? And that's what primary school is, and it kind of doesn't work great. I mean, the people who tend to learn to think critically are not learning that at school. They're learning it outside of school.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to agree, unfortunately.
Anyway, I mean,
I
part of
think
my
I
job
learned critical thinking skills from just being really poor and not wanting
that
to
can
be
help too.
poor.
Yeah, but I mean, critical thinking involves building really rigid models of reality that are very specific, but that can also be updated very quickly. So it takes a lot of precision and a lot of flexibility in the way that you construct the world in your mind, and that is not easy to do for a lot of people.
Well, it involves cognitive dissonance, and unless you learn, like cognitive dissonance is something you will naturally avoid, right? And so people just tend to go for the thing that feels good, right? And being wrong and internalizing that you were wrong, it does not feel good, at least not the first few times you do it. So people avoid it like the plague.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like I guess like alcohol. If you have alcohol as a kid, the first time you taste it, you're just like, why do you drink piss, Dad, or whatever. Uh,
God, yeah, beer just still tastes like that to me.
and then you kind of acquire the taste with time.
All right, you're
Love it.
cutting out now. Head
Sorry.
head up,
Sorry. Okay.
chin
I
up.
think I think my chin's up. I think being wrong is kind of the same. The first few times you do it, it feels really bad, but it starts to become fun because if you're wrong, then something interesting is happening that you get exciting. The unknown is exciting.
Well, yeah, when you're wrong, you learn something.
Can you hear
Right.
him? Or are you
I heard him
just
a little bit. Yeah,
all
it was.
right?
He's
All right, hold
basically.
on. I'm home now.
Okay.
No, I get what he's yeah, basically it's when I was pursuing, physics and like that kind of stuff, being assessing into you're a fucking moron level math classes and stuff, I got to be wrong a lot. And especially when I got to like physics, which really intrigued me, right? It's like, it's lucky like for me and Jay Fresh because we took sciences and they, especially with physics, they'll ask you a question and be like, oh, what do you think happens, A or B? Everyone picks A, and the professor's like, well, it's actually B. And then he shows with the math, and then he does a demonstration of how that works with actual like little fucking pieces parts. So like, and then you're like, holy shit, I was so wrong, and but then you start to get excited by that, like he was saying, you start to be like, holy shit, I'm wrong, that's awesome, and then you learn why you're wrong, and
Being
that's
wrong
really
is the
cool.
best thing ever.
It's so cool. Yeah, there's like the cognitive dissonance, like it doesn't really feel like it anymore. It just feels like I don't know, I just learned something new. That's really nice. But I'm not wrong in my political stances for third party voting.
Oh God. Really? That's what you had to drop in there?
I love philosophy because no one's allowed to be wrong in philosophy.
That's tough. And I realized that like so when I worked in finance, there was a lot of like there was a lot more room for error than there is doing this, which is insane to me. Um, but you could really like test and develop a thesis, and you had all the time in the world to do it. And there was no expectation, right? Like you get them right, you get them wrong, whatever. No one gives a shit, right? Just make money at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Um, And with this, there's like, with, I don't know what we even do here, stock, like public stock analysis. Um, with this, there's very little room for error because the level of understanding is different across the public than it is in like the private sector, where everybody kind of has a good idea of what's going on.
Yeah, plus if you fuck up, there's like 12 people who are like, I full ported that decision, I full ported that analysis.
Which is
I'm broke.
insanely, yeah, that's insanely stressful. But like, developing models in this environment, it really leaves like very little room for error or mistakes. But I think that's that like extra pressure to be right
Well,
makes
dude,
the failures so much more impactful, that the progress made is more substantial than it would be otherwise.
dude, we learned so fucking much from the GME OPEC cycles, dude. Like, because each time we were slightly wrong, and then our models would fucking get so much better, or just our, what we would understand about the settlement regulation and all that shit would just. It was always a huge stair step up, but I mean that's progress for you. It comes in stair steps mostly.
I can confidently say that there might be 20 people on the planet that fully understand like FINRA settlement, and I'm close to being one of them.
God damn, dude, yeah. No, that shit was so convoluted. Like looking into it and all that, it's just like it's a headache, dude.
I don't think any operating funds really understand settlement structure.
Well, they don't need to. I mean, like when like if you're liquid enough, it's fine, right? Like GME just happened to be like an extreme case of where like actual liquidity of the underlying like stock was just insanely low, and so the settlement stuff comes into play. That's like the reg show plays like Beyond are the same thing. There's just not enough people, with shares that they're willing to trade, so the market maker is forced to, buy and sell fucking IOUs and then settle them out through CNS or whatever, or
We're
just
still
fail them,
waiting
right?
for Novopex 2021. I mean, technically.
Oh
And
God,
this
here
is
we
what
go.
happens. This is what happens is that I'll say things and they don't live up to what people want them to be, but they're still right. Like GME ran hard as fuck into November OPEX and immediately following it, but none of us closed our calls and took the 10x returns, right? We were like,
Oh
no,
yeah,
it's gonna keep going forever.
this is Mo ass boys.
So it
Yeah,
wasn't it wasn't it wasn't that, Freg's Day was wrong. That maybe that was the worst part of Freg's Day, is that it was insanely accurate, except the hope was far greater than the actual returns.
which the returns themselves were astronomical as
Yeah,
we
they were
got out.
insane. I had options that were like 20x before Kenny rugged it.
You know what I bet? I bet it wasn't even Kenny. I bet it was honestly just a bunch of fucking like prop traders and shit that all just knew about OPEX and fucking played it, and then like it became a self-fulfilling prophecy, and then they all just fucking sold at the same time. You just dumped that fucking
God,
delta
it
edge.
dumped so hard that day.
It went from like up 15% to like down fucking 23% or some shit like that. It
On
was
this,
so crazy.
today is actually the Freg's Day anniversary, I think, isn't it? No, no, no. Tuesday is. We should have a party,
You mean a remembrance?
a memorial.
A vigil? uh, well, I can't believe I'm late to the AI sucks party, but I'm kind of glad I am though.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, the market pulled back at the end of the week. That was pretty cool.
It
I didn't
did.
I didn't I didn't expect Friday to be like a fucking down over 100 bip day.
I know. I have your line here somewhere. There it is.
I'm not looking at the stream. I was fucking super off though, wasn't I? I think I said we were going to 59, or what was it? What did I say we were going to?
6250.
Oh my god. Look at me. I am the inverse now.
I was there for Freg's Day merch. You know what? If I were gonna make a merch shop, I feel like that would be one of the first things to go in it. Freg's Day Survivor.
Hold on, I'm gonna pull up the third Friday of November 2021. What day was it?
You're welcome. Can I have a beta key?
November
the
19th, 2021. Never forget.
All right. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Sweet.
How do we visually represent a portfolio on fire?
With that meme of what's his face waving the burning $100 bill.
Uh,
Can I finish what I was saying on AI real quick, and then we'll just put a bow on it?
all right.
Sorry. I was trying to listen to what you guys were talking about, but my wife got a virus on her computer that just takes her, instead of Google, to Yahoo or something. It's weird, but
Like
anyway,
a Yahoo virus?
yeah,
That's
it has something to do with like getting money for referral links or something.
yeah.
Anyway, big stuff from AI. Internal sources have kind of been leaking that all of the big AI companies are now hitting a wall with their next generation models, and they aren't really performing that much better,
Yeah.
even though they cost 10x to make and run. So the current models already lose a shitload of money. The new models would lose like 10x more shitloads of money, which is already like the most losses like ever of the company. Like they lose so much money, it is staggering. Like I think OpenAI next year is going to lose over $10 billion just operating their current systems.
Yeah, how
Um,
shocking is it that the fucking top level execs have all fucking jumped ship when they lost $4 billion last year?
yeah,
Now
but
it's slated to lose that much
they
this
Huh.
all
year.
like jumped ship to create their own AI. They're still grifting. They haven't they just didn't like that they weren't like in charge of the current grift, so they moved on to their own grifts. Yeah, they're not. They're just as guilty. They're as big as piece of shits as any of them. But anyway, so like it's bad enough that Anthropic, they have like some new model they've been touting, like 3.5 Opus or something like that. I don't remember what it's called. Who cares? They're all
Yeah, who
ridiculous.
gives a
But
shit? Yeah.
they actually they pulled all mention of it from their website. They've just kind of said like, we don't know when we're going to release it. We might release it at some point.
Because of safety concerns? Tell me it's because of safety concerns.
No, it's basically just because unknown. But most people agree it's probably because it's too expensive to run and it's not much better.
They're gonna say safety concerns. I'm calling it now. Where can I bet on that on DraftKings?
I don't know. There's a 5% chance that Trump will be assassinated before Jan 21 or whatever it is.
That's hilarious. No, that's just people hedging their tails.
We're finally hitting a wall. The wall that been waiting so long for.
Well, the thing is, though, is that all that fucking capex that they're burning is just going to be fucking put away for as long as it possibly can, right? Like
I mean,
it's gonna be accounting tricks, and people are going to start asking questions after like another 3/4 of no results.
yeah, the
from all
problem
this
is they're
AI
not
shit.
big enough to do the accounting tricks, right? The only people big enough are the hyperscalers. So they're going to get absorbed by the hyperscalers.
Yep.
And the hyperscalers will try to hide it in with like, their cloud growth. Like, oh, look how big our cloud business is growing, and they'll just hide, the minus 15%
Yeah.
and the plus 35.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, not super long that. So it'll be interesting to see what Nvidia says in this week's earnings call, at least in terms of their forward guidance. I think if they're doing channel stuffing and pulling future revenues forward, I think they'll still be able to do that this quarter.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't see any reason not to, especially with Blackwell coming down the pipe, right? There's going to be enough people. I think something like SoftBank is going to be one of their first biggest customer. Of course, they're prioritizing SoftBank because nobody's really counting on them to create a robust like AI server system, but they're basically just trying to do what CoreWeave and everybody else is doing, which is be first really quick, try to lock in long-term compute contracts to guarantee profitability and let it ride. So I think they'll be able to pad that, but what'll be really interesting is listening to the forward guidance and how much they kind of hint at things to come, because I mean there's there's a lot of headwinds that they have to face that they're really not being upfront about. The first one is that the original profit proposition that Nvidia gave to investors originally for the H100 has collapsed. So you can now no longer expect to make money if you buy H100s today, their current chip, with the intent of selling the compute. You can now no longer expect to turn a profit. So, and most of the people that were late to the game and buying those H100s to resell are going to have unforeseen, lack of profits. They're probably going to have losses. The only people who really won that were CoreWeave and others who got in really early and secured these, multi-year long contracts at prices that, guaranteed profitability. Those people that are holding the bag are now, startups and other companies that, sign these contracts, and then they're like, well, shit, we don't really need all this compute because our product doesn't do anything and nobody wants to buy it. So now they're trying to sell their compute on the secondary market, which is just flooding the market with, compute time on H100s. You can get access to H100s for under $2 an hour, which is at a loss for folks who are, renting out them for time. Okay, so the H100 market is collapsing. The whole profit, the whole basic, equation that sent everybody into it in the first place has collapsed. So you can probably expect most of the sales of H100s to dry up. Of course, we're just in time for the next one, right? So they're going to push heavily on the Blackwell and say, well, maybe we can get another cycle of this. But I think that's probably not going to play out exactly as the last one, because people are seeing, hey, this H100 sales pitch was kind of bullshit. It kind of flopped a lot quicker than people were expecting. So they might think, well, maybe the Blackwell, which is even harder to implement, right? Because you've got to, if you want them to be 100%, you've got to liquid cool them, which is a huge challenge for most server farms. It's not trivial. Standing up an air-cooled server farm, very trivial. Standing up a water-cooled server farm, extremely difficult, right? And there's companies that sell, SMCI claims to be selling these things. The components and the systems themselves are not what makes it difficult. I mean, those are pretty well known. They're just cold plates that are shaped like those chips, and you just screw them in, and you put the right paste in between, you get good contact, easy peasy, and then you connect all the connectors. The issue is the infrastructure around the building. So you have to have very specific infrastructure to handle those huge chilled water loads, much beyond most traditional buildings. So if you want to stand up a server farm today with Blackwells, and you want to be able to claim that you can sell 100% compute power off of those chips, you have to have the amount of chilled water and thermal management infrastructure you need just doesn't exist in a standard building. So you'd have to build all of that too. So, I mean, for all of those reasons, I think we will see the pop this quarter as they draw revenues for, the initial sales of Blackwells to people who are still really excited about them. The hyperscalers will get their cut. I'm sure Elon Musk is going to raise a stupid amount of money to buy them, to make another Grok something that nobody gives a shit about. But yeah, I mean, I originally thought that it would pop by the end of the year. Obviously, I'm a couple quarters late or early, but I mean, unless I don't know what I'm missing. I think the writing's on the wall. I think I think I'm right.
Here's what you're missing. Jensen's going to say AI factories at least 30 times, and the stock's going to go up 6%.
Yeah, but everybody now's heard AI Factory, right? I mean, it took him like 2 years to know that he's crazy and been saying that since
Well,
2022.
here's what I'm thinking. Here's what I think is going to be interesting for the earnings is whether or not they address the SMCI fiasco.
Oh, that I don't think they're not going to touch that.
Well, I mean, but the thing is no, their investors in the call are going to ask them about it. I have a feeling they're going to ask them.
So. In addition to forward guidance, that's also it's also going to be really interesting. Probably, I'm going to try to listen to this one. Yes, the questions from the financial gimps that they allow on the calls will be very important to listen to. What is the sentiment behind the questions? Are they turning critical? Do they sound concerned or worried? A few less congratulations on a great quarter and a little bit more, pointed questions about the lingering holes. They did the same thing with SMCI before it started dropping. They turned on them.
Yep, they do, and they turn fast.
Yeah, so that's something that I'm really going to be looking out for. I'm going to try to at least hit the tail end of the call. You don't really have to hear the first part. You already know exactly everything that Jensen's going to say. So completely skippable, but the tail end of it, the last half of it, I think will be worth listening to.
Yeah, going to be interesting. And Nvidia is such a fucking huge company. Like its weighting in all the indexes is sky high, and for pretty much like no tangible reason, right? Besides, we got chatbots.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Everybody's talking about how money is rotating out of the Mag 7 and into other things. Now, Mag 7's still pushing, all-time high market caps.
Yeah.
Like they're down 3%, but they also go up 3% in a day, right? I mean, this is still within the normal volatility of a single day of the meme 7. So it'll be interesting to see when things actually drop. That if people are this scared about one day volatility moving in the other direction, then they're really not going to like what happens when they decide that maybe Jensen's not going to make $1 trillion a year selling whatever it is he's selling.
Anime waifu chatbots.
Yeah, that politely, slowly convince you to kill yourself.
Well, this has been fun.
Yeah. Anyway, if you guys didn't know, I'm pretty bearish AI. Do I think you can short Nvidia this week? Probably not.
I mean, you could, but will you win?
Maybe you could jump in on a trend, on a downward trend, if something really comes out that's damning and that nobody can ignore. But
I can't wait to see what At the Money IV goes to the day before earnings.
Yeah,
it's gonna be insane.
Interestingly, shorting the last two Nvidia earnings would have worked.
Yeah. Again, it's just because of the sky high. Here's the thing, though. It's like it's really tricky because, like clockwork, all the sell side analysts, all the sell side analysts have come out with their price upgrades, right? Like we expect. I mean, they're throwing out like anywhere from like 150 on the low end to like over 200 on the high end. Just absolutely crazy pants, insane shit. And that moves. That moves money around, right? People act on those. So you've got like this bullishness built in and the potential for bearishness. There's going to be a lot of vol and uncertainty, and the MM's going to price all that in. I guess maybe short vol? I don't know. I don't know how you'd play it. There's just too much.
It'd be bear call spreads, but even then, what you're going to make off of them is not much.
It's so risky, though. I couldn't even tell you. Flat. I couldn't even tell you which way it's going to go. Right? I mean, if they kind of just punt on forward guidance and just kind of focus on the fact that they sold a bunch to SoftBank and They moved a lot of their SMCI volume to Dell, who was happy to take it, and there's other things. So if they can just pad that a little bit, maybe beat by a little bit more than they beat last time, you know, if they beat by a larger percentage than they beat last time, I think there's a real chance that the stock could just run.
We'll just wait for the EPS predictions to start coming in at like, minus $20 a share, so that way they can beat.
Well, that's one of the reasons why it's been going down is because they've been beating by less and less each quarter. Right, and this is all priced. It's all priced for future returns, right? No, I don't think anybody that owns or is bullish on Nvidia would honestly tell you that they think it's fairly valued today, right? It's based on this massive growth that everybody expects is going to
Priced for
happen.
utopia, yeah. That's all the max that are priced for utopia.
Yeah, Apple's a weird one, right? Because they're like barely even growing anymore. It's a strange one, but yeah.
Well, they sell phones in a saturated market. I mean, they shouldn't be growing that much.
Not only that, the
not.
markets where they sell the most phones have been turning to other devices.
Yeah. Anyway.
But yeah,
so anyways,
Apple's been
175.
I've thought Apple's been a value trap for a long time, like a couple of years now, and I think it's just becoming way more obvious to everyone else, including Buffett. But it's still holding up at like, a fucking forward PE of what is it now? 37.6.
Yep. Yeah. Which is
But that's
totally
also because
normal
Apple has nigh infinite cash to keep buying back their shares.
That's true. I think there's a lot to that. They do buy a shitload of their own shares.
Well, that's all any of these companies do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they're
heaven forbid
they trading desk.
Heaven forbid they pay their workers more, because
the video Blackwell chips are overheating. Well, not only that, I think TSMC still never said that they were going to be able to manufacture all of them, right?
Where did you find that who has Blackwell chips?
I have no idea. Someone said it in chat.
Someone might be talking out their ass. I hope it's true.
Well, there's a Reuters article from 6 hours ago that says new Nvidia AI chips overheating in servers. The information reports. So I will have to read that later. But yeah, okay. So this is exactly what I was just saying, right? About the air cooled to water cooled, right? This is the first generation of chips where if you want to run them at full capacity, they must be water cooled, and they must be water cooled in a pretty tight tolerance situation, right? You can't just wing it, slap a cold plate on it and go to town.
Wait, so I can't just submerge it in Dork's bathtub full of mineral oil after our sex parties?
You can absolutely do that. The challenge is not cooling one. The challenge is creating the infrastructure in a warehouse to cool, a football field of these things, right?
But you can drink the water that comes out the other side, right?
Maybe over the first few days, but it's gonna foul pretty bad over time. You don't want to drink the chilled water in any building.
But JFresh, what about this? Okay, what if they divert the Colorado River and the Mississippi River and I don't know, the American River? Why don't they just divert all of these rivers directly into these AI factories?
Sorry, the what river?
The American River. I just pulled a river out of my ass.
Is that a river?
It is a river. It's a good one.
The American River?
It's got like Category 4 and Category 5 rapids on it. It's pretty
Where
crazy.
is it?
It's in Northern California.
All right. The American River.
It really is.
Yeah, it's a cool river. A lot of people have drowned there because they come up from Sacramento and then drown.
What a horrible name.
So horrible, people don't believe it's a real name.
Right.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah,
no,
we could try
really,
that.
That's what they're going to do.
Are they just going to use coolant?
Well, they are. I mean, so when they're using chilled water, they're using an HVAC cycle basically to chill the water. Same way that you use an HVAC unit to chill your home, the air in your home. But the industrial buildings use water, not air, so they pump water around because it's more efficient over larger distances, and for a variety of reasons, it's better to use water instead
Are we
of
going to talk about
using
its
air.
incompressibility?
Well, it's more about a heat
Incompressibility is
capacity.
part of it, but yeah, it's more about the density and the heat capacity. Anyway, yeah, but they're still using refrigeration to cool water itself. It's a cycle there.
But wait, what if they get nuclear reactors, JFresh? I heard nuclear reactors were going to be a thing.
So they're just taking all of the heat and moving it to a bigger heat sink.
Yeah, they're taking all the heat and trying to dump it outside,
Yeah.
just like anybody else, right? And they're using a pretty traditional thermodynamic cycle to do it. But yeah, I mean so obviously if they have an external source of water, that can be cheaper, but it is still a challenge, right? Because you're still going to have to pump it around. You're still going to have to do something with it at the end and make sure that you're not, destroying things. Because if you're putting in, I mean, they said 20 degrees in, 40 degrees out at 2 liters a second. Each rack is like 270 kilowatts. You think you have a football field of these racks? You're talking about megawatts, if not gigawatts of heat, and the water that's coming out is coming out at like 40 degrees C, which is almost enough to like burn your skin. Not quite, but pretty close to the threshold for pain. You can imagine what that's going to do to ecosystems if they're just running it off of rivers and dumping 40 degrees C water. It would be a ecological disaster, and I can't imagine that anybody would actually allow them to do that.
You know who our president is, right?
It's true.
Has anybody checked Trump's portfolio and seen how much Nvidia he has?
Somebody should do that. Anyway, yeah, I mean, of course, these servers are going to overheat because people aren't equipped to water cool them. So if you try to run them air cooled, unless you're very careful at underclocking them, you're going to run into overheating issues.
Okay. But JFresh, I brought something up, and I'd like to bring it up again. Nuclear reactors.
Yeah, okay, that provides the power, but it generates the heat. That doesn't help you dissipate the heat. That's the other side of the coin.
Oh,
Can we cool them with heavy water?
FinTwit told me that nuclear was the way, and it was going to solve all these problems because these companies are going to run nuclear power plants at their fucking factories or at their warehouses.
Yeah, okay, so that thing I'm actually not. I mean, it sounds ridiculous. Is it risky? Sure. But companies running their own power plants is not really new, and it's not unique to these IT hyperscalers. People like Dow and others that are just pumping out so much feedstock and things for people, and they have uptime is very important to their contracts and the markets that they serve. They'll have their own power facilities. They'll have their own water facilities.
But I mean, like, you need. I don't. The thing is, it's nuclear power plants, right? It's not just like you're running some sort of natural gas refinery off of the off gassing from your fucking shit processing.
Yeah, the nuclear part I think is the risky part, just because we've been so nuclear averse for so long as a country that the expertise kind of just isn't there to just start going buck wild with it.
That's exactly my concern.
I would like to see a more measured and larger scale approach to it. I'd like to see the government involved and labs, particularly the national labs, involved in the process of like how do we modernize our infrastructure to revive nuclear. I think that's a larger conversation that all of the people thinking about it should be involved in, not just a bunch of fucking McKinsey people, running a AI scam, just throwing together nuclear reactors. I think that part is the part that's disagreeable.
It's dangerous.
But yeah, I mean, in terms of just companies managing their own power and generating their own power, that's not special.
I wish there were more nuclear engineers. I wish I became one because then, yeah, I could have had a pretty swanky job in the next 5 years.
And I feel like the only nuclear engineers left are in the Navy with the
Yeah.
nuclear submarines.
Pretty
There's
much.
not very many of
I
them.
yeah, I get a few of them every year in some of my classes.
What, dudes who ran the nuclear sub?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, they'll go and do the Army, or sorry, go do the Navy and go in the nuclear sub, and then go to school afterwards with when they're paid to go.
Once they get tired
It's
of having
actually
sex with
it's
other
actually
dudes.
yeah, it's actually kind of a sweet deal because they're more mature. They take it much more seriously.
Well, yeah.
They're always excellent students. Very thoughtful. Yeah, it's just great. Anyway,
Well, yeah, my one of my physics teachers was he did photonics for the DOE. That was pretty cool. He was a military dude for the longest time too. He was amazing as a professor because he was extremely attentive and he took his job very seriously. Which a lot of physics professors aren't like that. They're all goofballs with crazy hair and being like, "I'm so quirky."
Physics professors really do love being quirky.
They do. It's like they hear like that, like the NCIS fucking the goofy music when something silly happens. That doo doo doo. That's playing in their head all day.
What's the name of the guy, the CEO of Palantir?
Carp, something
Carp.
carp.
Alex
Carp.
Carp.
I was thinking bass. Like it's some kind of fish. I would not want my name to have a fish in it. Anyway, I feel like physicists have to be offended at him. He's stolen their look. Because he's like a psychologist or something by training. He's some bullshit.
He really has. He's really stolen like peak physicist form.
That's the most offensive
He's
thing
like
about
partly
the whole
bald
company.
with a perm.
Yeah, that to me, that's the most offensive thing about the whole company is the cultural appropriation that is celebrated there.
While you guys
I
have been
can't talk too
talking
much
about
smack about.
AI, I cut a hole in the top of my tea bottle so I don't have to remove the lid to pour the liquid out.
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah, I can't talk too much smack about Palantir. They help the U.S. military kill people, but they don't like to talk about it.
We'll see. Yeah, it's the perfect. It's the perfect business, right? You can't tell people what it is you do, and the government just buys it, and nobody's checking to see, right? I mean, I've been on the other end of. Anyway, I don't want to go into it, but you guys should not have any confidence that the military is being good stewards with the money that they're given at all in any way. You should have zero confidence. Which is true of any massive program that just gets rubber stamped more money than they ask for every year. It should come as no surprise, but yeah, there's a lot of waste and shitty ideas that get pushed for way too long. And I could definitely see Palantir being a part of that. We'll see.
I don't know. They're pretty good at helping you kill people. So
supposedly.
Oh no! I have some testimonials about how fucking good they are at helping you kill people.
Oh, all right, that's cool.
They're really effective. Like when you want to like you got like a target, it'll pull like you tap on the face and it'll pull up everything about them, their most recent whereabouts, like any sort of attached tracking devices related to them, all this crazy shit.
Oh yeah, okay, face recognition, sure, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, they just have a massive database of intelligence at this point, so you can't beat that. Especially when
I mean that's I thought that they were doing more of like precision dynamics of systems. I don't know what they do.
Do we want to talk about the market at all, or
no?
Okay.
I will talk about Alex Bass and his fish hair.
Can we name him Tim Palantir?
Yes, absolutely.
I always forget that Trump was the one who started Tim Apple.
Not ironically, too. That's the worst part.
I love Tim Apple.
All right. We can talk about the market. Okay, AI shit. Nvidia might live another quarter, but they're running out of time. Their chips are literally lighting on fire. Well, let's move on.
Yeah, all right. Options leverage, right? You want to talk about that?
We can talk about that. It's high.
It's still very high. Yeah.
Still high.
Concerningly so.
Although all inputs, calls continue to decline.
Yeah.
Actually, kind of want to talk about. I don't know. Do you want to put up? Maybe we can put up a chart.
Yeah, give me what you got.
Let me snip this one. It's kind of a very specific thing that I've noticed. And I don't show this one very often just because it excludes 0 DTEs, which is a big thing, but it still shows important information, so sometimes I show it. So this is daily traded volume leverage, but it excludes 0 DTEs. Okay?
Okay.
And so I'll assume it's up. I'll kind of go slow to give you time to put it up, but you can kind of just to recap, Jan 22 to Jan 2023, which recall, 2022 is a very volatile year. The leverage tended to stick around 10 times. And it tended to be roughly evenly split between puts and calls. Then in 2023, we kind of everything ratcheted up into the new year. So everybody took their winnings from the year before, slammed them all right back in at higher leverage. So we were now up to like 15. We had kind of a bump in July of 2023, and that was when we had our first like big scare. I think that was when Japan originally had their first like
rate increase off of negative. Yeah.
Yeah, that was then, right? God,
that was our first bump.
Time has flown. Jesus Christ. Anyway, so that kind of delevered things for a while. But then everybody levered right back in, and then
Yellen made leverage cool again in November.
Yellen stopped issuing duration, and so everybody jumped right back into leverage, and we've been high ever since. One thing to note though is a couple of interesting periods. So if you look from like February to the end of March, call leverage declines pretty substantially from like 20 down to almost 10, and put leverage stays high. Right at the end of that, right after that point, there is a significant correction. And then the same thing happens in up through till July, and then there's a significant correction. And then the same thing is occurring now, but it's even larger than those times. So what this is telling me is kind of, and if you look at all of the other data, which I can pull up and send as well, it's still this continuing story of the people who are bullish are getting less bullish and are taking less risk as they start to cash out. Basically, the bulls are kind of starting to cash out, take some money and some risk off the table. And we've kind of seen that now, right? I mean, some of that is just the fact that there's no more money. And I know we've been saying that for a long time, but I mean, we are at the point where we are at the top of the last two historical bubbles, which both peaked at about the same place in terms of leverage.
I feel really good. I felt really good about our confidence in 6,000-ish being the top.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was like 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago when I was looking at my Disney meme and trying to project out was looking like something around 5,900 by the end of the year would put us at the top of the historical bubbles, and obviously we're there now. So we're pretty damn close. And so sure enough, right, we get to the top and people are hesitant to lever even more, and so we start to see a little bit more volatility. So I think we are going to go into a higher volatility regime going forward.
I was kind
To
of
me, we're
just
going.
looking at, like you were looking at, I know you were looking at like total available cash in the system, but I was just looking at like CTAs versus like available leverage against the dollar.
Yeah, I
It
mean,
came to roughly the same thing. It was like 60
what? Yeah,
24 ish. Mm,
one would imagine at the top of the historical bubble, you'll start to see the same conclusion in a lot of different places.
yeah.
Um, yeah. I mean, the crazy part was really just the Trump bump. I mean, the calls just went crazy, but they're starting to come back down. It'll be interesting to see what happens going forward. I kind of think this is pretty close to it. Does that mean it's going down? I don't know, but I don't think it's going to go up much more for a while.
Yeah, well, I think it really depends on how much profit taking we see and if there's any substantial shift in yields. If that's the one thing about uh being like there's no more money left. There's still leverage left if the dollar keeps rising. Right? The more that spread widens, the more leverage there is. So there is potentially like higher price targets, but it would need to widen really significantly, and JPOW would need to stop cutting and, and narrowing it.
Well, I mean, he kind of hinted at that, right? This week that, maybe they're done. Maybe the market's he kind of was like, the market might be telling us to settle down a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, and core inflation is also not going down.
Well, yeah, that's they don't give a
Also
shit about
year over
that.
year PPI was way up.
Yeah, they don't give a shit about inflation. I forgot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they only care about the asset prices of their handlers, of the people they go to parties with.
True. And also get speaking arrangements for.
Yeah, they don't want to be embarrassed in
Yeah, it's
front of
really hard
those
to get a
people.
$250,000 speaking engagement when you lost that guy 20-40 million dollars.
True. It's very true.
Very true. Yeah. So anyway, I mean, unless leverage picks up, in calls, it'll be interesting times. I think definitely in the new year, I think we're going to see a much different 2025 than we are 2024.
I mean, yeah, no, it's going to be weird. We got Trump doing all kinds of crazy shit with fucking imports.
Yeah, does anybody really think he's going to do any of that shit? Who knows?
I don't think he's going to do anything as president of the United States except play golf, keep himself out of jail, and pump money into his children's businesses.
Well, he's going to
Yeah.
sign shit that his advisors hand him on the desk when he has to show up once a week.
Yeah, but all that shit has to come from Congress. You think Congress is going to do any of that? I don't know.
Nobody can issue an executive order, and until he gets stonewalled by Congress, he's fine. He also has a majority in the Senate and the House.
He does not have the power to tax.
No,
He can't just change the tax code over by himself.
He has the power to assign international tariffs.
Yeah, in addition to taxes, he's not going to do it without getting other taxes removed.
He probably will.
well, that's the bill he's going to pass to Congress. But while he does that, he's also going to tariff the fuck out of everything else.
Yeah, I could see him pushing tariffs before the tax reforms. This is Trump we're talking about.
That's true.
He's gonna
That'll
do
be
something
awesome,
immediately
by the
available.
way. Paying 25% income tax plus paying 50% more for any imported goods.
I need to go to Costco.
Yep. Yeah, you do. You need to get a big ass freezer or two.
Yeah, I actually have been.
computers.
I'm not gonna lie. I've been eyeing the freezers.
Yeah, just go get an entire cow.
Do we import those?
No.
I
But
would say get all
beef
the
will just go
computers you
up
can.
anyway. Oh, we do for Brazil.
Ah, I forgot about that. And Wagyu.
Wagyu?
Wagyu.
Uh,
Ragu,
Wagyu.
ragu, RAGU. It's
Wagyu? Maybe it's Wa.
Wagyu. Way.
Way?
Wa.
we
Wa?
Waymo
Wa?
Waymo.
Now
Wait,
you
yeah.
guys, I know how it's pronounced, but you guys are like fucking with me. And now I don't know how it's pronounced anymore.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know. Yeah, I think you're right, Jay
Wagyu.
Fresh. The higher volatility regime makes sense, especially with rates still staying as stubbornly high as they are. And I don't want to make the U.S. Treasury yield curve again, but you all know what it's doing.
Did we cover the new feature release? It was like the first thing I covered. Nuke.
Oh,
Nuke's in here trying to get attention again. Mr. I don't like the limelight. And then he's like, feed me. You're almost as bad as JFresh. I should get you a Twitter account.
No, you should not.
He'll never get anything done too.
Oh yeah.
true.
No,
I'm just working on decreasing everyone's efficiency.
I can tell. It's okay.
I'm trying
You're
to
the
make your
boss.
job harder, Dork.
I know, right? I'm the one who's trying to get things to happen sometimes. Very, very rarely, I'm like, hey, wait, we should do something. And then Girk's like, wait, this color is wrong.
Oh god.
And yeah, but now
We're-
look how much more visually attractive our product is. It could have been all MATLAB charts, and you and JFresh would have been perfectly happy.
I mean, I would have just done them, yeah, with PyPlot, and then just like pasted the PNGs every day, and just
Yeah.
had no life.
Yes, sir.
Does a bounce
That's the way to do it.
seem to be in order? We might get a little bit of easing in conditions around here. We don't have a lot of big data in the coming week. I think at least the first half of next week, it's mostly just housing shit, and no one cares about that. Some international stuff might affect the dollar, but probably not much.
I will say nobody cares about housing because of the cognitive dissonance.
Yeah.
They're not capable of caring about it because they're
Even though home sales, home prices, home permits, everything's been in decline for like 8 months. Real estate agents are still telling people they can sell their houses for, double what they bought them for 2 years ago.
yeah, it'll be fun.
And that's
Ooh,
because,
it's time for me to
in
check my house
reality,
next door.
there's still buyers, right? So, like, housing's really playing the greatest fool game, but there's still fools, and lots of them. So, I know people personally that are like, I gotta buy a house right now. I don't care. I'll lock it in now. They're gonna keep going up. And that's a real fear that people have, apparently.
Well, yeah, I mean, is the Fed going to actually let housing prices collapse?
I don't think they have a choice at this point. 'Cause the Fed has no power anymore. They ceded it all.
I mean, they can buy MBS.
Okay. So then they have a bunch of toxic assets on their books. They already have books that are full of toxic assets from the last time they fucked up and did that.
Yeah, who cares? They can
That's
hold
some more.
their books can look as shitty.
You
as
know what
they want
happens? You know
forever.
what happens to the value of an MDS when the homes inside it are foreclosed on, right? It's
doesn't
not like
matter.
it's just got the same value at maturity.
The negative number at the Fed just gets bigger. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, but the negative number increases when those hit maturity, not decrease.
Yeah, but it does. The number doesn't matter. The Fed can't default, so who cares?
Fair.
Yeah.
I think that's why people are scared. People are scared the Fed is not going to let home prices become affordable because the Fed fucking hates you.
Hey, dude, you are the thorn in the Fed's side. You're
They're
the thing
just not
making
going to
their
let
job
home
actually
prices
hard.
decline until BlackRock gets rid of all of their single family homes they bought, which they've almost done.
Well, no, they got to be ready to buy again, right? And that's when everything's going to collapse.
Yeah.
So they can buy more next time.
When Larry Fink calls JPOW and says, all right, I'm in the market for homes, that's when JPOW hikes rates.
Right, or he speeds up quantitative tightening.
I really wonder what happened to, like, me and Poopy joke around about the 20-year hitting 8%. But if JPOW bumped rates at any point next year, 30-year mortgages are going to go to like 12%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they'll only go to like 10 to 10
10
to 10 to 11.
12. 10 to 12. Say it. You know you want
10
to.
to 11. 10 to 11. 11.25.
God, I'm going to spend so much money on 20-year notes. Whatever Gamma Strike is made at that point, I'm throwing it all in 20-year notes, just to let you know. If the 20-year note's at 10%.
Okay. I'm in.
I guess I'm okay with that.
You have my vote.
I'll probably buy some too. I mean, I'm a buyer.
We'll be profitable
like
forever. People will be like, where do these cash flows come from? These guys don't do anything.
You know, Bob, I actually did bottom tick rates.
Yeah, just about. I think the lowest in the last like 2 years was like 4.8, 4.75, and you're what, 5? So you're like right there.
I'm still kicking myself because what am I looking at here?
If house rates hit 10%, then house prices would be like negative 70%. Yeah, and then imagine you have an adjustable rate HELOC.
No, they're not, Bob. Here's the thing: is you underestimate how much people are willing to sacrifice to pay a mortgage.
I literally at like 101.
I think you underestimate how quickly a bank will foreclose on someone.
On TLT,
well, a little bit of both.
I said I should short this here, and then it did nothing but go straight down, and I didn't short it.
If like 8% of homes are being foreclosed on, the housing market will drop like 50 or 60%.
Oh yeah, because it's leveraged as fuck.
Well, because everybody will be trying to undercut each other to sell their house before the bank does, and it'll crash regional markets.
I don't think so.
That's what happened in 08. Well, more specifically, like 2010.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, well, 08 happened, but I mean, 2009 wasn't a great year, and people held out because of the sunk cost fallacy.
Step in to save their votes with what? There's no money. If U.S. debt gets downgraded, housing prices will drop even harder than if people start defaulting on their mortgages. That's the problem, is that we're in a lose-lose scenario. There's nothing there to come and bail shit out with.
I can't wait to refinance at like negative 3%. It's going to be great. I think we got one more boom cycle in us. I think we got one more cutting cycle. That's going to be great. Like one more ZERP.
I think the Fed's got one more QE in it, like just a real juicy one, and then inflation will just destroy all of their credibility, and people will start getting really pissed off, and there will be chaos, and I will enjoy it.
I think S&P downgraded us. What was it, 2011? That sounds right.
Yeah, no one cared.
No, we cared a lot.
Mean,
but the other rating agencies didn't.
Trump's going to dissolve the Federal Reserve now, right? So that means we're going right back to ZERP.
I mean, the market will set rates too, right?
Well, yeah, but then Trump's going to do Trump stuff. I don't even know what that means.
That like hand stuff, or over the pants stuff?
A little bit of both.
All right, I
A
could
little
be
reach
down for a
around.
little
He's a
ride.
gentleman.
Is he?
Sometimes.
I
Did you
don't
hear that?
know.
Did you hear that?
I think all the women testifying against him might disagree with you, but I don't really know the man.
That was just locker room talk, okay?
And then last warning by Fitch, they said risks have risen that risks have risen that the debt limit will not be raised or suspended before X date, and consequently the government can begin to miss payments on some of its obligations. The agency cautioned that a default in any U.S. security debt would affect securities uh, to D, and other treasury bills will fall to CCC or C.
Jesus.
And
Oh,
in August of 2023, Fitch downgraded U.S. long-term credit ratings to AA plus from AAA. So they've already done half of the work. And they're warning that they're going to cut a lot lower than AA plus. So, yeah, I don't think there's any saving anything at this point. Like, it also probably very intentionally, Trump is just gonna get handed a big bag of flaming shit.
He kind of is, yeah.
Yeah.
maybe that's why the Dems just
To
threw
which the
Kamala out there.
only actual solution is austerity, which will likely make him the most unpopular president ever.
Hoover 2.0, baby.
Yeah.
Hoover Trump bills.
So what do you put money in? Well, there's foreign bonds. The EU, I think, did actually. You know, I give the EU credit. They did a pretty decent job handling the post-COVID environment, and their banks meet Basel requirements. The only problem with them is ever since World War II, they've been so inherently strapped to the dollar that they have to ask permission to get spanked.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
Fiscal dominance.
It's it's
GME's entire portfolio is in short-term securities. You do know if the buck breaks with GME's billions all in money markets, GME's going to go to like $1. At which point I would buy it.
Risk assets are really scary when you have to actually assess risk, huh?
You're funny,
it's fun when they always just go straight up all the time.
Well, when you can make analyst projections that make absolutely no sense, and you still have like a fairly decent chance of being right on it.
Listen, man, some of those guys spent the entire prior night in a strip club snorting so much coke that they had a brain bleed for like 15 minutes, and then they show up to work, and some guy's like, you know, you got to go on CNBC in 5 minutes and tell these people what Apple's going to be worth in a year. And they're like, well, I guess I'm just going to make it up.
You can say Dan Ives' name. I know he listens to the stream.
He's just huffing some Galaxy gas before he pops onto the CNBC thing.
The dude with gold toilets is going to get us to be austere. Yeah. Rules for us, rules for thee, right?
Yeah, I don't see him. He doesn't care about anybody but himself. Why would that surprise you?
Doesn't Japan face the same problems of the BOJ raising rates with their bonds having massive unrealized losses? No. They get all the money from the big ass margin call they create. It's actually a net benefit for them to raise rates, but it's a bad look, right? Their banking system will do phenomenal. That's why Warren Buffett's buying all the Japanese banks, because those banks are going to fucking kill it when they get a margin call all the US banks.
Yeah, that's going to be the real wealth transfer.
Yeah.
Well, or it's just going to be a gigantic fucking chain of bankruptcies that
Not
fuck
BOJ, I
everybody
mean
over.
companies. In Japan, same thing.
Yeah.
Japan is run by mega corporations, and the BOJ is absolutely directed at their command.
Yep.
So, Bob, you know who owns bonds in Japan? Japanese housewives. Oh, wait, no, they don't.
They
They
own
own
U.S.
dollars.
treasuries.
Yeah. Wrong bonds.
The only people that own Japanese debt are like massive mega conglomerates like Mitsubishi. And they own so much of it that they basically just own the government. And they have since the 80s. This is
Yeah.
actually with the loss of the majority in the parliament there. This is the first time that the megacorps might not have all the power.
Hmm. Well, with all that in mind, Girk, I think we're going to bear flag all week next week.
Probably, yeah. I could see us getting a relief rally from here. We've sold off hard enough. There's not a lot of delta to the downside. But you know what's interesting is there's not a lot of delta in the money either to the upside. Like where things would normally look really dense and squeezy, they kind of don't. I mean, I can pull it up here on Gamma Strike. Your one
Yeah,
two,
shill it harder, daddy.
yeah,
Gamma
your
Strike,
go-to
what's that?
source for
What's that?
an in-depth look at the options market.
Wow, that's cool. I want to use this.
Man, how
Yeah,
do
me
I get
too.
access to
Well, you can't. We've let the exclusivity go on too long.
that? Just never open it up to anybody else.
But yeah, there's just not a lot of delta in the money to the upside on SPXW at all. Maybe the major strikes, but it doesn't look real squeezy on a bounce, which is a little bit different than the situation we were in prior to the election, where there was a ton of delta in the money and things got really squeezy as soon as we got above, I think it was like 57.75 or so. This time not so much. So, I mean, I think there's a scenario where we could maybe just bounce a little, but nothing crazy, which would be kind of different than every other
Yeah.
reversal we've seen this year.
I have an easier way to say what you're trying to say, I think. All the calls are below us and all the puts are below us.
Yeah.
That's some hard hitting analysis, Jay Fresh. I love it.
You bastard.
There's not really a bunch of anything to like. Yeah, there's not
Yeah.
like a bunch of profit taking potential here because it's all long calls and sold puts below us. Who are, I guess they could lever in more, right? But I mean, this doesn't seem to be what they're doing.
Yeah, bear flag all week it is.
Yeah, all the gammas still between like 5850 and 5800, which is what we squeezed through last time. So I don't know. Maybe we could bounce back to like 59, but above that it looks like dog shit.
Yeah, my end of week prediction was 59, 58, 17. No, wait. 59, 49, 17. My bad. That's what we're going to close out on Friday.
Wait, what was it?
59, 49, 17.
Hold on. Are we doing predictions? Hold on, I gotta bring it up.
That was my prediction. I was going to say that, but now I kind of want to change it.
I mean, technically I won.
Well, you did. You can go first. But I'm changing my prediction because I know you're going to steal mine.
I'm not. I don't think you have to worry about that. So you want to say 59.49?
Yeah, and 17 cents.
All right, that's as close as I can get. Or maybe I can. No, I can't. All right. Can I do that? Mm, okay, that's mine. Oh, wait. There we go. JFresh?
Oh, you want to go last?
No, I already went.
Oh, what'd you do? I'm not watching
Oh, I did
YouTube.
down to gamma neutral like next 2 days and then bounce back up to monthly GN, fail and drop below delta neutral.
Did you stay down to delta neutral? What
Yeah.
website are we
Well,
looking
down
at?
down to monthly gamma neutral,
Uh,
which actually might be a little bit closer to spot. Maybe it's
hold
not
on, I
so
was look,
much.
I was looking at combined. Give me a second here. Wait,
Like
gamma
that.
neutral is at like 58.32,
Yeah.
and we're 58 cents. So you think we're going down to there, and then what?
Bounce.
Ooh, bounce. All right, interesting.
And then fail.
Um,
And then fail the bounce.
I think we're gonna close the week at 57.20.
Oh, okay. So we have the same like closing price.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, you're
Okay.
$10
Yeah.
lower than me.
I just want it to go down. I'm just afraid to go below 57 because that seems to be a pretty long-term support. So 57.20. I think what goes up must come down. I'm watching Bitcoin overnight as well to kind of gauge it. I think that's a good sentiment indicator. That seems to be failing right now as well.
Yeah, risk off, risk on, and leverage. We'll see what happens with the dollar. I think the dollar is going to be probably the most important thing this week if it continues to drive up against like euro data. But we have S&P PMIs Friday, so by the end of the week we'll have some more interesting shit. And home sales will have some effect on the dollar, but probably not much. I know Yuda's speaking on Thursday. He could have some impacts. There's balance of trade, like Japanese balance of trade. And I think like EU CPI and stuff. So, I mean, if inflation's staying low in the EU and growth is staying low in the EU, then dollar will probably keep getting stronger.
Yeah, I'm pretty bearish. I think Nvidia's gonna do something. They're gonna fuck up somehow, and that's just gonna send things into chaos. We'll see.
Yeah.
But even without that, I mean, things are just so eye-wateringly overvalued that who knows how long this can be sustained. I mean, worst case is gonna be flat. I don't see us. I mean, I guess we could rage back up to 6,000, but why?
Just cause animal spirits, Jay Fresh. You ever hear that? Fucking let's fucking go. Up, up, up. And by that I mean bear flag all week.
I don't know. We still have. I don't know if you guys have been keeping track, but we still have. If you look back in where is it? Back in, let me zoom in. Yeah, so back in 2020, there's a gap at 23.25.
Oh God, are we playing this game again?
That still needs to be filled.
Uh, Oh, I hope Nuke isn't watching when the Zoom jumps.
Yeah, it's a lot smaller than it used to be, though.
He's gonna be
Really.
heartbroken.
There's also one at 25.50.
It's only like, well, the put side of it's a lot bigger now. But it's only like 1.8. Jesus. 1.8 million OI. It's so ridiculous.
Good lord.
When does all of that expire? Ooh, this Friday.
Oh,
That's a cool feature on
300,000
Gamma
calls
Strike.
fall off it on Friday. And then 300,000 puts fall off it on Friday. So 600,000 contract reduction on that strike coming this
So
Friday.
those fall off on December OPEX.
Oh, is it December OPEX?
It's December OPEX, yeah.
Oh.
The Gamma Strike
Because this
feature
is,
has the
yeah,
dates at the bottom.
Never mind. This is the AM contracts. That's why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's a really cool feature on the platform that you're looking at there, Girk, where you can
that I
click
could
on the
just
OI.
I could just click on any candle and then see the expirations for that.
Yeah.
For
Look
that
at
for
that.
that strike.
That's a really neat feature. Yeah, you can really sort of plan out your positioning to make sure that you're timing things out such that they expire around other large positions, and make sure that you're knowledgeable of that when you make decisions about your trades and your volatility hedges. Wow.
Yeah. Wow.
That's a cool feature.
How much can I pay to get access to that feature?
There's no amount of money in the world that can allow you to get access to that feature today. Actually, that's not true. If you wanna give us $1,400 today, you can get a year subscription. But I don't know how
Tell
we
me
would
more.
do it.
Yeah. Did you talk about Monday, or I guess like imminently?
The live data? I told everybody earlier.
Okay.
Yeah,
I didn't
they're gonna
know
be
what I
getting
had to be
all of
secretive about
this
or not.
live.
Live data.
What exactly are we giving them again?
The buy strike stuff.
Delta, gamma, vega, charm, speed, vana, volume, and gamma curve
By strike.
by strike.
Cool. Yeah. When are we going to give them the rest of it? Have we decided that?
No.
I don't know if we know what the rest of it is yet, do we?
Yeah, we're not. Well, we're kind of sure what the rest of it is, but we haven't given we're not giving it to him yet because there's bugs and issues and a bunch of shit we still need to iron out. There's a memory leak, very specifically, that just fucking.
You weren't supposed to tell Nuke, if you're listening, he didn't mean it.
Yeah. Thanks for just telling everybody exactly where they could potentially exploit.
When live rolling meatball chart.
This one's, I mean, the meatball.
So this is a live rolling meatball, but there isn't an animated meatball on it, and that's because some of us haven't put one there.
I think it would just be weird for most of our future subscribers. They wouldn't understand.
It's not about that.
We've already confused other developers that are working with us because we currently have two completely different things that are 100% unrelated to each other that are now called the meatball.
Well, so this one is colloquially called the meatball, and this one is actually named the meatball.
Right.
Just let it be known that I resisted the naming of one of these things, the meatball.
I don't think anything on our website should be named the meatball, but I also don't. That's not a fight that needs to be had right now, so I've put that off.
I fought it vehemently, and I'm out of energy on it. So at that point, I was like, call anything whatever you want to call it. I
We've
don't
asked
care.
the beta users to give us better names for things, and they've totally let us down
The
so far.
Pastafarians will get it. Give us the pimento back. Animated meatball, make it happen.
Hmm. Oh, JFresh, we need to we need to talk a little bit about what the meatball is. We've already
Do we?
discussed it last Sunday. I went over it a bit, but like just like one pretty picture.
You mean JFresh needs to write that thing?
I've already started writing it. Actually, I've
Oh,
been
cool.
working on it today.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the main concern I've been seeing from the beta users has been just what mean primarily.
Yeah, I'm doing a thing,
Cool.
doing the writing, doing the writes and the whatnots and the words and the pencil and the sentences and all of
I
that.
mean, I'm gonna be honest. That was like 2 people out of 500
I saw
or
like five
whatever,
different
100.
I saw five messages that were all kind of saying like I want to use it, but I want to feel confident that I know what it says.
It
Although I
doesn't. It
find it
doesn't really. Yeah, but I mean, like that's kind of a problem also with like how the data is being used, right? It's just stocks to look at. It's not like, oh, this definitely means something. It's just like, go look at this and see what you think of it possibly being
well
categorized
yeah,
as one of the following.
Yeah,
yeah, all we
I think
doing
I
is
think
net
providing a
ETA.
little bit of context of why we've singled those out as something worth taking a look at can be helpful.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's all.
that's fine.
Just a little bit of clarification. And it's because, sure, maybe it's only like 6% of our users, but I would like those 6% of our users now and going forward to feel okay.
I know
I
some of
know,
those.
I
I know some of
know,
those
but
users. They may never feel okay.
that's okay. But you know what? We take the good, we make the good faith effort, and if that's not good enough, then I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's all about good faith effort.
Just call it
I
a
mean,
bode plot to confuse more nerds.
A what?
Bode plot?
Oh, a Bodhi plot.
Bodie plot?
Yeah, that's not what it is.
It's a
I was just thinking about Bodhi plots the other day. Somebody was trying to argue with me about resonant frequencies and design. It was very strange.
root isn't a bullish reversal.
Nice.
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah, I never got to talk about Bitcoin, but I did a bunch of
Oh, thank
stupid
God.
math on it,
I saw you doing that. Is that
and
for
it
the
makes me so
interaction,
happy.
or are you getting passionate about Bitcoin now?
I don't know yet.
Okay.
I'm interested in if it's trackable and if it's worth tracking. I also just kind of think that it's not going to exist in a few years. Although I know that's a big enough statement that I'm sure I'll be wrong, but
I like paying a 40% fee for people to mine Bitcoin for me.
I just wanted to ask the question of like how much money people put in and how much of miners taken out since ETFs got started. The real interesting thing is that there's pretty much only like 3 million Bitcoin that is really actively traded in any capacity. Much smaller than the maximum, 21 that it will eventually be. And so you think about like the size of the tradable Bitcoin market is something like $300 billion or something. And so ETFs this year have essentially consumed like a tenth of that, maybe 12, 13% of it. People have put in
Ooh.
37 billion. And that's pretty much, it seems like that's the primary, like the new money coming in is all ETFs, which is also interesting because ETFs also have to be pretty transparent. So these markets are really transparent. That's kind of why I'm interested in starting to look at the data. because you might be able to do some interesting things with it because of the transparency of the market. But it's
SoundHound looks
interesting.
bearish as fuck.
Yeah, it does. there were a couple on there when I was writing up some stuff. There were a couple I looked at seemed like would be a good, at least selling calls on, if not just shorting.
Yeah, Upstart looks pretty bad too.
But yeah,
DJT looks
30,
terrible.
$37 billion have entered the ETFs. $16 billion have exited in mining new coins. You're basically, if you buy Bitcoin in an ETF, you are handing your money to a Bitcoin miner, and in return, you are getting a receipt for your donation.
Woo!
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So it'll be interesting when money actually tries to start flowing out. Because actually money's been flowing in consistently since the start. So even when Bitcoin kind of like hit 72 and then started this massive bear flag down, money was flowing in the entire time. It was just that mining sell pressure that actually pushed it down. And so now we have this new Trump bump, but I don't see this lasting because unless Trump actually forces every taxpayer to be the biggest fool, which would enrage me to no end, this push isn't sustainable.
Okay. Guys, hear me out. $50 calls on SMCI.
Wasn't it on a bearish one? Yeah, bearish trend. You think it's gonna do a little bouncy boo?
I mean, these people are going to take profits at some point. Actually, they're already starting to take profits.
Mm.
Got to close the short vol, right? That way you can short it again.
Wait, is this real? I'm looking at the Greeks by strike. This can't be real, is it?
All the sold puts. Look at all those sold puts. Oh, it's so squeezy to the upside, J-Fresh.
There's a lot there. Let's see when they start expiring. They expire in January, though.
So down to 15 first.
It looks like everything is for Jan. Some for December, but most for Jan.
Hmm.
It does look very squeezy, though.
It looks extraordinarily squeezy. And IV is pretty low. Realized vol in the 30 days plummeted.
Yeah. Oh.
Ooh, yeah, realized vol's coming down pretty hard on the 10-day too. Okay, so wait, hold on. How to make the most money off of this?
Are you typing that into ChatGPT right now?
No.
How to make the
Could be.
most money off of long
That's-
SMCI?
And also protect from their inevitable bankruptcy.
I don't think they're going to go bankrupt. I think they're just not selling as much as they claimed they were. Or they just had a bunch of they had a bunch of orders that they pulled forward into their last quarterly statement that then canceled, and now they can't file their annual without revealing that.
Okay, so the bear call ladder for Jan, let's say April. Let's be safe. So April, you get 800% returns on a test of 50. But you get fucked on 25. Hold on, wait. How hard do you get fucked on 25? Just through Jan. Jan OPEX is what date? The 17th?
It's 17th or the 20th. Let me look real quick.
17th. So if you were to hold to the
Oh,
following
it's
Monday,
20, and then
your
Jan
break
17th.
even's at $24. Anything above that's profitable. Well, where's the...
What? Wrong ticker? He says we're looking at SMCY. I'm on my computer looking at SMCI.
SMCI.
Why would he say that it's the wrong ticker? Who's looking at SMCY? Dirk?
Dirk.
Oh, am I looking at it on the...
Dirk?
Oh, I have the wrong one on the option strat.
Ah. Well, thanks, Stan GPT.
But chatbot was good for something.
Still want to establish them at net credit, right?
Well, dude, just synth long.
Yeah, but this is less oppressive.
Shorten your time frame on that, so that way we could see what it actually performs like on a shorter time frame than 151 days.
Yeah.
So your profitability curve is going to look kind of weird.
And it should just be anything up. Break even on Jan 20th is $26.
It's such a ridiculous profitability curve.
Yeah, it is.
I don't know how you managed to do this.
I like money.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't hate it. Don't hate it.
Yeah, just play like a test of 50 by Jan. 77,000 or 7,700% returns.
Yeah.
Yeah. 9,600. I like it too.
Man. Thanks the meatball. Thanks, Gamma Strike.
Wow, yeah, Gamma Strike has proven useful in this analysis as a tool to use to bolster your confidence.
SMCI pumped at 23 in after hours. Oh, shit.
Didn't they just get
Has the
delisted?
train already left the station?
Are they not delisting?
I mean, they were at almost $19 at close.
Oh my god,
That's
it's OPEX. Is SMCI going to be an OPEX stock because it's not really in the S&P 500?
Ooh, maybe.
Everyone's just betting it gets downgraded back to the R2K. Wasn't that in
No.
bearish trend? I think so. No, it's in
Should be in bearish trend.
where the fuck is
The
it?
bearish consolidation?
It's in bearish trend because it's just been going down.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and this is something that I mean people maybe need to get
Their heads
calibrated
around.
to.
Yeah.
So, I mean, depending on what you're looking for, you may find more timely information in other places, right? So if you're looking for a bear or a bullish reversal before it's happened, obviously you're looking for a bearish trend, right? So if you're looking to capture a bullish reversal before it's happened, you would have to look at the bearish trend, right? If you want to play a
Or
trend,
bearish consolidation.
right? So if you want to play a bullish trend, you would look for a bullish reversal that has just started and then evaluate how much room you think it has to run to continue the trend, right?
Such
So
as,
like
yeah, well,
so
let's
like
look at root, right? Like root has already moved up. It's in a bullish reversal. That's what this is, right? The V.
yeah,
The technical
but
term
it's
for a
also
V is bullish reversal.
yeah, but it's also so close to gamma max that I'm like, nah, maybe I'm not going to play the bullish trend on it because I don't think it has a whole lot of room to run. Or maybe I watch it and wait and see what happens if it does get to gamma max and kind of hangs out there for a while. Maybe it's a good, call sell situation, right? But you kind of have to look at this information
This is like
based
a
on
good
what
put
you.
sell situation, right? Because your assumption is the bullish trend will continue, but not very far. So you don't want to leverage the long side, but
Well,
it's
yeah, that's
probably
what
not
I
coming
said. Yeah,
down
yeah, yeah.
soon.
Yeah.
So yeah,
If you want, yeah, you could sell it tomorrow, right? And wait, or you could. What I was saying was you could wait for it to kind of consolidate at gamma max for a while, and then consider selling the top side instead of the bottom side.
at which point though it would become a bullish consolidation,
Yes.
which is like this, like Shopify, where it is,
Yeah.
broken above gamma max and is now consolidating, is likely to not go up higher because of the huge breakout. And so this is, this is where you would want to look if you were, trying to look for stuff that maybe is worth selling calls on.
Yeah, so all we're telling you is what has just recently happened, and this is just a way to screen for which stocks have done this in a way that is statistically interesting. It's up to you to decide what to do with that information, right? If you're trying to capture the very early move of something that hasn't happened yet, you've got to look for the thing it should look like right before that. If you're just trying to do something where you say, okay, something has changed and I want to do some trend following, then maybe you follow the same thing, right? So
Yeah.
like for example, the bullish reversal, depending on what you want to play, depends on whether you should look at bearish trend, bullish reversal, or bullish trend, right? Because those are all kind of different parts of the same move. A bearish trend can turn into a bullish reversal, which can turn into a bullish trend, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll try to.
I think we've named them appropriately. I think people just need to take a minute and think about what they mean. Because like all indicators, this is reverse looking, right? So
Yeah.
it is telling you what's happened, not what's going to happen. Because nothing can predict the future except me
And AI.
and AI.
Yeah, so for me, I'm like, if I'm looking at these bullish reversal ones, I would be interested in maybe trying to play a bullish trend off of that bullish reversal information, right? Because the reversal's already happened.
Yep.
That's kind of like why I've been saying everything's up at gamma max, which is really annoying, because you can't play the trend, right? Everything's already up there.
Well, some of the
Um,
weaker, no, they are too.
okay, so like ALGN maybe that might be a good one to. I don't know anything about the stock. All I know is it tends to run between so it tends to run up to gamma neutral, delta neutral, and in this case, it has done a little teeny tiny baby reversal, but it's already at gamma neutral and pretty close to delta neutral. So maybe I wouldn't play this one.
FSLR
Mm,
looks kind of interesting after its massive sell-off. That's kind of
yeah, that one does.
it tested GNDN failed, which might not be good.
Yeah,
Actually, but if it were to pop up above 200, that would be really, really fucking bullish.
yeah, and part of the ranking here, it is ranked by the statistical strength of the signal, right? So you notice that the ones that are really far down here, like ALGN and FSLR, you can kind of see the formation, but it's pretty noisy. And so
The
that's
firm
kind of
looks like it's gonna fucking rocket.
yeah, that one could do another little whoopsie
Another
daisy.
leg up.
It seems like Gamma Max is continuing to climb, so it could
Why the fuck is
stay
Hawaiian
in.
Electric on here? Is this your like spite Fubo?
I don't know. I think it's been on here a while. Looks like shit though.
Does it?
I mean, it's at Gamma Max.
Yeah, it is, but for that part of the chain. How far do the strikes on that go out? 30? A lot of Vega at 15. Hmm. Yeah, just not a lot of
Well,
interest. Really.
it was up at like 16 back a couple months ago, so I could see why there would be some stuff at 15.
Yeah.
It's like it's all calls up there, probably sold. Anyway, we could do this all day. I'm
We
sure. Have we
could. This is
lost
fun.
everybody yet? Have
Well,
we
this
No,
lost
is
this
this
is
is
everybody yet?
probably
amazing.
the thing that's got people most excited about the whole stream. Ooh, Tulio looks kind of bearish finally. I might sell some calls on that.
the what now? Tulio?
Twilio or Twilio?
Oh,
Yeah,
TWLO. Yeah, I
yeah,
have no idea what this stock is, but holy shit, it has run.
yeah. It was a Pickles pick like a while back, and everyone was like, "Ah, it's not going up, Girk."
What do they do?
I
Yeah.
believe they make the frills that go on a garter that a woman wears at her wedding.
Hmm. Why would you not be bullish that? I guess nobody's getting married anymore.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, everything's just like at or comically above Gamma Max.
It's those flows, bro. Money's flowing into the market.
Yeah, net flow is
It's really hard to
positive.
push dispersion more when everything's already maxed out.
You just got to buy calls. Oh wait, no one's doing that.
UAVS, is that the aerospace, like the UAV company that like ran like 100% or something last week? It'll hit sellers pretty quick because the price has been down for a while. But maybe after like a decent sell off, it'll run more.
Okay, here's a question for you, Dork.
What the fuck happened to CRISPR? Man,
So
they got ruined.
Well, a question for both of us. Why is Beyond signaling a bullish breakout? It looks flat to me. It's just beyond
Yeah,
malls.
Beyond is starting to look a little bit sexy. But it's not on Reg Show, and I don't want to buy it unless it goes on Reg Show because of the rules.
It's true, yeah. But I mean, do people? Is it ever going to go on Reg Show again?
I don't know. They did release shares, so maybe not. And
Do you think
Gamma and
anybody's ever going
Delta
to
fell off
actually?
pretty hard on the expiration, so it might just be like a lagged effect from November OPEC shit falling off.
Do you think anybody's ever going to actually eat what they make?
No.
That's not what this is about, Jay Fresh. In this market, it does not matter whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can be. I don't think that's a shocking statement, right? I mean, valuations haven't mattered for a very long time.
Correct.
People don't invest that way. They invest in buckets. They just say, I want to own this percent of these things and that percent of those things, and they don't care how much it costs. They just want to know they own that fraction of it.
Yep.
Which baffles me that the Fed doesn't use the markets as an indication of inflation, because if the markets are screaming higher, that tells you that people don't want to own dollars. Why don't people want to own dollars? Because they don't think they're going to hold their value.
Whoa, Jay Fresh. Okay. Look, that's just going a little too far, okay? If we look at the Phillips curve, we can tell everything we need to about inflation.
I'm gonna pile drive you into a Costco cake.
Well,
Live on Netflix, stream to you 2 seconds at a time every 2 minutes at 12 pixels per inch.
I love it.
Right into a fucking Costco cake. It's gonna say happy birthday dork on it, and your face is right through the middle of it.
it doesn't look
God.
like Beyond's going much below 5. Because there's a absolute fuck ton of puts sold down there.
I mean, yeah, it is kind of like one of those. Well, what is it? Are they a great business? No, but how much lower can it really go? It's already almost. I mean, I guess we said the same thing about Fubo.
Looks like it could get a nice clean bounce back up to like 750.
Yeah, I could see playing a bounce on that bad boy.
Yeah, I might do some synth longs again on it. It's been a long time since I 30x them.
Ooh,
oh my
futures
god,
are
Nuke
open,
can
aren't they?
refill his port again if it runs.
We've been on so long that futures are up.
Oh shit.
It's time to go.
And they're red.
We can't be.
Where's the red
talking...
drum Pepe?
Yeah, who's the one who's been doing that? Is it Danimal?
No, it's
Good Kid.
A V's butthole?
No.
No, he's been doing the dank memes.
Return to Bear Island just posted it.
Thank you, Return to Bear Island. Was it Dan GPT all along? I know
no,
it was
Roger Cheeto. Roger Cheeto's been in charge of the drums.
Okay. Nice. I do appreciate that. What is it down like 3 bips?
Yeah.
All right. I think it's illegal for us to continue talking about markets while the futures are open, right? We have to stop.
I think, this is a conflict of interest
This
now.
is a conflict of interest. We need to end the stream immediately. We have our predictions for next week. They're already set in stone. Dork, you gonna get in there and screenshot that bad boy?
Oh yeah, pop it up. I gotta throw it in there.
We literally gave everybody a little bit of everything this week. Like we left nothing out, so it's pretty good.
And we even used Gamma Strike as well. We showed it in use, which was
did.
And I told everybody they can't have it.
Yeah, exactly. Great.
There's no price with which you can purchase this.
There you go, Dork. You can screenshot it now.
Perfect. Love it.
Our marketing is impeccable.
It is. Welcome to Gamma Strike. Fuck you.
Well, we were like, oh, we should be live like 3 months after the beta drops, but yeah, in true Blizzard fashion.
It's done when it's done. I
Same
mean,
team.
we're making great progress. I'd love to hit end of year launch, but
That'd be cool.
it's got to be right.
Yeah, it's got to be perfect.
It's got to be, stuff.
Perfect. Say it.
No.
All right. You want to.
Well,
If anybody
I
wants
mean,
to say perfect, it's you.
I just want to watch all the other providers just lose their shit.
oh yeah, dude, we're gonna kick off such an arms race. It's gonna be great.
I don't really think it's a challenge. I've looked at all their platforms. None of them know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah, I know. That's why it's gonna be great because they're gonna fucking burn.
We're
a
just
bunch
going
of
to
time and
launch
money.
4 years ahead of them.
Yeah, I mean, if we had, it's really just an issue of money. But if we wanted to, we could like live stream every ticker options data like tomorrow. We would just have to pay 700 times more money than we're paying now.
700. Yeah, I mean that actually, it's pretty close.
We could do
Yeah.
it, and then nobody would ever catch us. Like none of those people would do any of that. Thank you, Dork or Nuke. You are the king.
Nuke's a Chad.
Yep. Duke is a Chad.
Live data Chad. I got to go. So that's the end of the
Yep.
stream.
All right.
Thanks, guys,
Thanks for having
for
us,
coming
bud.
on. Appreciate it. Bye, everybody.
See ya.